Hi, you guys. Okay, so good news. I've decided to cover Real Housewives of Salt Lake City for a few weeks to see if you guys like those videos. And if you do, I'll continue to do them because that's another franchise that I enjoy and has a lot of gossip surrounding it. So it's worth doing because sometimes just because a show is good doesn't mean it's worth covering because there's no juicy characters in it. But in the Salt Lake City franchise, there's lots of secrets. So I like that one. I know you're surprised. Okay, so let's get into the purpose of this video. Sorry it's late. I've been trying to work out with my cleanse. And so I worked out last night and I had to choose between doing my video right after the show or running 2 miles, and it wasn't an easy choice. Anyway, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Reunion Season 12 Part 1. Let's get into it. I do have some gossip. Okay, so like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. I really enjoy when you do that. It gives me a lot of joy. I do. I get a boost. Okay, so BravoCon is starting today. All the housewives are going from every franchise that are current cast members. Some of my friends are going to be wearing my 25,000 shirt. You can buy one if you want on represent.com. The link is always in the description of my videos, but I love that they're wearing it at BravoCon. I'm like, is this a silent protest? They still, you guys have probably seen on other videos, I bet, because they promote it with my meme and stuff, which I love, but you could offer me a free ticket. You know what I mean? Just to be nice. And I get Zippo. Just the hatred towards me with Bravo. I don't know why. I'm so nice. Okay. Let's start with some gossip before we get into probably the hottest gossip I'm going to start with. Oh, there's so much in this, though. Kyle Richards, as you guys know, I've been saying over and over and over and over again in my videos that I believed that she gave Lisa Rinna the okay to come for Kathy Hilton and that Kyle was in on it. And everybody was like, oh my God, there's no way. And I was like, yes, there is a way because she did it with Lisa Vanderpump. And I know because she did it with me. And so I was like, she definitely had talks with Lisa saying it's okay. Well, it turns out that she must have also had a talk with Erika Jayne Girardi. And guess what? It came out in one of the edits that they dropped after the show, like an extra bonus scene. So now I'm going to play it for you, and don't question me because I know what I'm talking about. Kyle's really all about Kyle. Keep saying it.
Well, then talk about Erika.
I can just say when all of this was going down, Kyle said to me, I'm glad that people are seeing this so
By the way, that was between us, by the way, Erika. Thanks.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that was in private.
Okay. Well, I'll take that as
You get that, right?
I'll get it right now.
If you're doing this to protect me, this is only hurting me. If I share something in confidence, I don't expect you to share it with a group. And yes, I was relieved that someone else saw what I have to endure sometimes. And yes, I did say that because I was very hurt by my sister and I was angry. But I don't want her to share that with everyone.
This. So Kyle behind the scenes is not going, you guys, please don't do this to my sister. I'm pulling my friendship card. You know, I love her so much. This is going to devastate her. Please. She's going, I'm glad people are seeing this. And, you do what you have to. And if you feel like this needs to be called out, then you do it. And okay. And Kathy knew that. And that's why she's freaking pissed at Kyle. And I wouldn't be surprised if Kyle said to everybody, listen, if you find some reason to go for Kathy, that's okay. I don't want you to feel like I'm holding you back at the beginning of the season. Okay? Because she bitches about Kathy to them. So I still have my glasses. I know. The irony of that is overwhelming. I can't get rid of glasses in my life. The hurricane made me push my eye surgery back. So here they are. I wanted to let you know that Pretty Corrupt podcast spilled some tea. I don't know who the guest was on the show, but thank you to Gossiping with B on TikTok for bringing it to my attention. They were sharing some gossip that they heard that Lisa Rinna and Erika Jayne Girardi's publicists have dropped them, Jack and Jill. I'm going to play it for you, and then I'm going to tell you something, which is
That her publicist dropped her this week.
Yep.
And so did Erika's publicist.
They did. I don't know how much more I should say, but they are not pleased. Their publicists, Jack and Jill. Oh, that's funny. So, Erika's publicist was Jack, and he also reps Nikki Hilton. Rinna's publicist is Jill Fritzo, and she also reps Paris, and they do not appreciate being dragged into this. They didn't have anything to do with that. They're not going to risk their careers to spread a story for Erika Girardi, and they dropped her for this. Their names got dragged through the mud wrongfully.
That I have done a confessional video in the Patreon, which is a deep dive of Jack Katsoyan and Mikey Minden, and it's dropping Saturday. And it's my level of awesome, I'm just gonna say. And I do cover everything, and I have receipts for everything, because as you know, we file everything in the Patreon, so as things happen, they still exist in there. So very excited. I hope you guys, if you're in the Patreon, go watch it this Saturday. If you're not, I hope you join and check it out, because it's epic. And I do a video and audio version. Of course, what I'm talking about, in case you haven't been following, is that Bravo is alleging that Jack, Erika Jayne Girardi's publicist, leaked show storyline that he overheard at events that he was publicist at for Erika to the press. And that's how they found out all the information on Kathy Hilton's Aspen meltdown. But it's not true. And I explain why in my confessional video. And I tell you why I think Bravo had an agenda to hurt Jack. Unfortunately, he's collateral damage. If I was Jack, I'd be demanding that NBC or Bravo pay me something for putting that out there, because I would say, you know, that's going to damage my ability to get future clients. Because the way that a publicist is judged is, first of all, most talent won't go with a publicist that's in front of the camera, because they always wonder whether the publicist is really trying to get press for themselves or for the talent. That, you know, you're hiring someone to get you press, not get himself or herself press. So talent doesn't like when publicists go in front of the camera. They don't. In the beginning, some publicists do it to get clients and get known as a publicist. But there's a certain point where you got to go, I can't be a publicist anymore if I'm going to be a reality star, right? Because your clients they'll quit, or they won't want to hire you. The other thing is, a publicist is a confident, and you tell a lot of stuff to your publicist. If you think your secrets are going to be leaked to the press, I mean, bye-bye, right? So, I mean, they couldn't have attacked Jack worse. Anyway, it's all in the confessional video. Enjoy. Okay, so as you know, I'm a big fan of attention to detail, and I wanted to share some of my favorite details about the looks of the reunion really quick that I did notice from like the leaked pictures. 1, loved Dorit's nails. 2, hated Kyle's knifey looking earrings. She looked like she could like assault someone with them. And her weird backpack attribute to her pink shiny dress. What the hell was that weird backpack strap? It annoyed me the whole time I was watching. Very distracting. I loved Erika Jayne Girardi's hair with the little princess clip on top and the 60s vibe. I'm like, I would dress in 60s looks all the time if I could.
We start the reunion with Jamie Lee Curtis making an appearance. And as you know from the live I did with Thea, that's been leaked for a long time. So it wasn't really surprising, but I enjoyed seeing her on the show. She was lovely. And we find out that Dorit is Andy's pet.
Jamie Lee Curtis loves Dorit for saying chic about her charity like 800 times. She renames her charity for the chic. Yeah, that's what she says on the show. And this puts Dorit in a great position to go into her robbery because she's going to describe her awful PTSD that she still has to this day. I can't help but feel like Dorit is a favorite of Andy's, and he does give her a better edit than some of the other women. I'm just saying. I don't know why, but I do feel like that's true. This is like his Dorit. I was excited to hear they're rebranding My Hand in Yours with Dorit's chic wording, which was very exciting. They give all the proceeds to the Los Angeles Children's Hospital, which is a great thing. And I'm glad, so glad that they promoted it on the show and she got a boost from that. I don't see the logo yet on the website. It just looks like they have text and no logo. So maybe they're going to be changing that up now. It's been a few weeks since the reunion was shot, but I'm sure any minute we'll be seeing Dorit's chic on there. But anyway, what matters is that if you're looking for a charity to give to, you go to that one because it all goes to the kids at the hospital. Yay, I'm going to. All right, Andy yawns as if Dorit's boring for the second time. Okay, so I have some gossip. This is pure gossip. I was on my Instagram feed maybe last year, and I saw this crew member for reality show group form. Like it was a handle, right? And the idea behind this group was they were going to post things that reality production staff and crew go through on their reality shows, right? So I was really interested in this, obviously. And so I saw that there was some negative postings about Bravo and the treatment of their reality crew members and producers and stuff. Then all of a sudden, the this like handle went away, and I had followed them and they're gone. So I don't know what happened to them. I'm not suggesting anything bad. Maybe they got a lot of backlash, like, look, we'll never get hired again if you keep posting stuff. Obviously, after I saw that, I thought, wow, that's interesting that Jamie Lee Curtis said, you know, thank you to all the crew that make this happen and make this show so great and such a success. And I agree, because it is hard, I can only imagine, to be a crew member on a reality show. You work long hours. You have to deal with a lot of dynamics. It's not high budget, you know, production. So, you know, you're kind of running around like a news crew. You noticed how they talked about Jamie Lee Curtis knowing Kyle since she was a little girl and starred in the first Halloween. But I still want you guys to know that our new watchers, I'm the one who reintroduced Malika Akkad to Kyle after she took a long stint off the Halloween series, because he had taken over from his father, Mustafa Akkad, and he didn't really have any interest in Kyle Richards until I introduced them at a premiere that I was at, or some sort of magazine party, like I forget which one it was, and Malik was with me. And see, my ex-husband was best friends and producing partners on different projects with Malik Akkad, and he even worked on the Halloween series with him in the production company level. And so I was the one, oh, you should bring Kyle back on the show. Didn't you do a movie with her? All that stuff, yeah. So I'm still holding on to my claim that I'm the one that reconnected them. Yep. How that make a little more sense to you? Mustafa Akkad died in a tragic bombing in Lebanon, and his son Malik took over. And so it was all along, the earlier movies was done by the dad, right? And then the son Malik took over, and that's who my ex-husband worked with. By the way, my ex-husband was hot. See, you guys, that's my ex-husband on the right, and that's Malik Akkad from Trancas International Entertainment on the left, the producer of Halloween. Aren't they cute? They were so fun. They were the funnest guys ever. Oh my gosh. I miss them. Jamie Lee Curtis intro is saying different things to the different women and making his comments. And one of them, of course, is to Lisa Rinna. And Lisa says, I have a little bird to think of Lois. And you can tell she's going to be relying on Lois a lot later if things get rough. I don't mean that in a bad way, but like, you know, she needs a crutch, a spiritual crutch, which is her mom. So then Dorit starts talking about the robbery. We relive it with her. We see her awful reaction to it. We see PK Kemsley crying because he was in London and not in town at the time, looking for his cell phone, etc. We find out that Dorit is having issues in her marriage and struggling to be a mom in the same way that she was, because she's so disturbed by this event. She really has said now on the show that she doesn't believe in materialism. She's like, take all of my things. I just really want my safety and all that. But she still is dressed head to toe in layers of Chanel, but whatever, that's her thing. And the fans love it. They love her braid and all that stuff. I kind of wanted something new, but you guys seem to like it. I guess it's nostalgia at this point. She's going to have braids forever now. I have one fix from the finale video I did last week, and I'm bringing it in here because Dorit confirms again that the robbers are still at large from her home robbery, which then made me look again at my research because I was like, wait a minute. I swear they caught them, and I read about it in September of 2022. Well, I did read about it in September of 2022, but it was about the 2018 robbery, not the 2021 robbery. So sorry for that confusion. However, all that I said about the robbery in the finale video is correct. It just was about the 2018 one. I do believe that they're going to still find out that the people involved in that home invasion were watching Dorit's social media feed and using that to clock her house, as well as the fact that the house was for sale. So it was being publicized for sale and the address listed in all the realtor sites. And it was obviously her house. You could see it from all the pictures. So I think in the end, that's what they're going to find out. But I'm dying for them to catch these guys. What the hell? Also mentions in this scene that a family member was reached out to by a robber who said, I have some of your things and I'm awaiting trial or something. And I would be willing to give you the things for the money that if you want to give me money. And Erika's like, those are criminals. That's a shakedown. And Kyle's like, I just wanted my stuff back. So I gave him a little money, I think she said. It's hard to, it was like very like edited, like, let's throw this in kind of thing. So we didn't really get the full clear story. But it sounds like Kyle gave the money, got the stuff, and Erika was like disapproving. I thought that was like, okay, Erika. Okay. We get into Garcelle and what happened to her son, Jax. He received a bunch of threatening messages like this one. This was the worst one. I've noticed that the press aren't reposting it, but I think it's important to repost to see how disgusting people can be. I mean, really just disgusting. This was sent to a 14-year-old. Queen of the Tea says, with an underscore, you'd have your neck kneeled on if it weren't for your white daddy. Tell your mom to leave Diana alone or you'll deal with us. Jack reposts this and says, like, you know, to call it out, and he doesn't take Diana's name out of it. Diana feels like this justifies her in sending this DM to Garcelle. Believe me when I say, if anything happens to my children, you will be held legally responsible and no Bravo contract will stop me. I guess by making Cherie take down my birthday post, you wanted to solidify me as a racist and actually ruin my life. Garcelle was like, first and foremost, my son has a right to publish whatever he wants on his Instagram, number one, especially when it's a threat sent to him. He doesn't have to censor it. That's number one. I totally agree. Number two, he was at his dad's house and he didn't think it through, like it might be some repercussions to Diana in this. But the big question I have is, why are all the haters praising Diana in the same messages as all the hate? I'd say the reason that Garcelle thinks it's Diana that bought the bots or bought the people to promote her and put down other cast members that Diana wasn't getting along with had to do with the fact that they were praising Diana in those threats, especially the one that you saw. Said on this show, Garcelle is doing an investigation and Diana's hired a legal team to look into these bots or whatever. But I was subject to these bots as well, but for a different reason. So I was subject to these bots because of the cease and desists. And remember, I did all this content and Diana didn't like it. And she said, take it down. And she sent me a legal letter and all this stuff. Well, during that time, I also got attacked by bots. And they were like threatening me and stuff like that. And I talked about it on my YouTube channel. So it's like, I guess what people are struggling with is that these bots seem to be attacking people that go for that are doing things that Diana doesn't like or approve of, and at the same time they're praising Diana in the process of attacking these people, So I think that's where the link to Diana comes from. There's also some weird energy with Diana and Garcelle on the reunion. And what is that energy? Well, as usual, Diana is talking about really deep, dark stuff. She's like, Garcelle's like, you threatened me, and shows a text. And the text is a legal threat against Garcelle. Like, she's legally threatening Garcelle that if something happens to her family because her son posted the threat that called out Diana's grade or whatever it was, that she's going to sue Garcelle. Like, that's a broken, like, what? That's definitely a weird, like, that shouldn't be her response to that happening. She starts talking about murder, and she's like, did I threaten you with your life? And she's like, when in my country, when we say murder, it means you really get killed. And so I take that, the concept of like your life being threatened, very seriously, different than maybe you do. And it just got really dark. And I was like, whoa, it's true. In Bosnia, there's definitely, people go missing and die, and there isn't due process there and all this stuff. Now, Diana's point was that she was just threatening Garcelle with a lawsuit. I think that's still gross and disgusting. She was basically trying to say, I didn't threaten you like with murder. I threatened you with the lawsuit. It's very different. And I just was like, how could we be having this kind of a conversation? Where you're talking about that in your country, there's murder, and you're bringing this into Beverly Hills. When you couple that with, I don't sit with my back to any windows. I have people do security checks of my hotel room before I go there. She rents houses and then she moves from them after production's over because she doesn't want people to really know where she's at. It just has a very spooky undertone to it. And I would be concerned about shooting with Diana because I would be scared, honestly. It's for the same reason, like, you wouldn't want to live on the floor of an oligarch. They probably have an armed security guard before, in front of their door because they have to, because they're a target. It's like, do you really want to live on that floor, even if it's a mansion in Miami? No, probably not. You probably want to get off that floor. It doesn't feel very safe. Also mentioned that her Playboy pictures were sent to her son, which is obviously makes him feel uncomfortable and upset. But I just want to say, from an outsider's perspective, not being a family member looking at these pictures, she looks stunning. And I thought they were done pretty tastefully, the ones I saw. So then Crystal comes on and talks about her eating disorder and how she has it under control, but she deals with it every day and she hates her body, basically. And then all of the old timers on the show come for Crystal. They hate Crystal. I can tell you right now, Teddy Mellencamp was friends with Crystal. Teddy was the one who referred Crystal to the show. Teddy, I don't think, likes Crystal anymore. Crystal's 14 friends, as you see in the video that I'm featuring on my feed, doesn't like Crystal anymore, and none of the, Lisa, Erika, Dorit, or Kyle like Crystal. The only people that seem to like Crystal behind the camera is Sutton and Garcelle, and maybe Kathy. So to refresh your memory, Sutton tells a story about how her hot tub becomes a melting pot for her daughter, and she's sharing this with Crystal, trying to show how enlightened she is, and Crystal's really disgusted by the story. It's very cringy, the story. Also, by the way, the girl who was involved with this story went on TikTok, and this is what she said.
Funny. Yes, but not funny. Ha ha. Funny.
Okay, so this is what it says. the copy is what's interesting about this that she writes in that video. Me, when I cut off my high school BFF of 5 years because her mom was racist to me, and now she's a Real Housewife getting called out for being racist, and her response is, quote, my white daughter had a Chinese friend on TV, and she also mentioned she's not Chinese. So Kyle wanted everyone to believe she outright lied. Now, Crystal didn't totally outright lie, because what upset Crystal allegedly, which they didn't show in the reunion, was that Sutton's daughter felt the need to ask Sutton if she could get into the hot tub with a bunch of different women that were from different nationalities. And what upset Crystal was that Sutton's daughter even had to ask. And I get that, but I also get that not everybody is as aware of the situation, and Sutton has agreed to learn and move things forward and help. And I do believe one of the reasons that Sutton has Crystal's back is that Crystal didn't add on TV this element that she felt. She backed off. And so the women are saying you didn't back off, you said it over and over, and you made it like, you know, this was such a dark story, but you lied. But the reality is the rumor was that it was that part of the story that really upset Crystal. Now, if she had said that on the show, it would have stung Sutton. It would have. And she didn't. So I'm going to assume that that was a choice she made, and she did it for Sutton's sake, and Sutton knows it, which is why she has her back. And the other women don't care. They just want to go for blood. Okay, I wouldn't be me if I didn't do this next section, unfortunately. So if you want to go forward I'll put the time codes again in the below description for this video. But, you know, when it was said that he beat the charges about Michael Jackson on the reunion, that lacks a lot of clarity, and I did want to call out that because I do believe you guys are intelligent enough to handle a little more depth than that, and that statement was slightly inaccurate when you look at the detail. I wouldn't be me if I didn't take you quickly through a cliff note. Michael Jackson was one of the greatest artists of all time, no doubt. He created some of my most favorite music, and I grew up with him. I even had like a Beat It jacket in New York City. I got one of those knockoff red Beat It jackets. Yes, I was that person. But that said, it is what Crystal was trying to get across wasn't really about the playing of the song. It was about the fact, well, let me show you. This is from Vanity Fair, who did an article about Michael Jackson and all the evidence that actually was compelling in the cases with the molestation allegations. So let me just read this to you quickly. So far, 5 boys Michael Jackson shared beds with have accused him of abuse. Jordy Chandler, Jason Francia, Gavin Arvizo, Wade Robson, and Jimmy Safechuck. Jackson had the same nickname for Chandler and Arvizo, Ruba. He called Robson Little One and Safechuck Applehead. Jackson paid $25 million to settle the Chandlers' lawsuit, with $18 million going to Jordy, $2.5 million to each of the parents, and the rest to lawyers. Jackson said he paid that sum to avoid something long and drawn out. Francia also was paid $2.4 million from Jackson. Was also charged for sexual molestation of boys in 3 different cities. And in each city, they were tossed out, generally speaking, because one of the people that was supposed to testify didn't. But they were all settled with big numbers out of court. The kids really never got over it, and neither did the parents. 2 of the kids listed in the previous article became emancipated from their parents so they could leave them as young teens. And 2 of the fathers felt so much guilt, it's alleged that may be the reason that they killed themselves. Vanity Fair expresses this as part of the evidence. Michael Jackson suffered from the skin discoloration disease, vitiligo. Jordy Chandler drew a picture of the markings on the underside of Jackson's penis. His drawings were sealed in an envelope. A few months later, investigators photographed Jackson's genitalia. The photographs matched Chandler's drawings. Wondering why LaToya Jackson used to say, I think my brother did molest the children, and she said that the mother told her that he had settled with loads of people, even more than what I saw in that Vanity Fair article. She said this in some interviews that she did, one in particular in the UK that I actually watched for my deep dive. And then I want to share this with you from Vanity Fair as well, because it might explain why she's dancing with Kathy Hilton and now publicly a supporter of her brother, which is like a 180 from where she started. Even their families got similar treatments. The sisters were put off to the side by Michael, the supposed adorer of all children. The parents were whisked around in limos and private jets, taken shopping and treated by vintage wine from Neverland's cellar. Jordy Chandler's mom got trips in Monaco and Las Vegas, along with a diamond bracelet. Jimmy Safebuck's parents got a whole house. The documentary never mentions the cars they received or the permanent residence visa that Wade Robson's mother testified in 2005 to having received by funneling whatever wages she had received through the Michael Jackson Corporation. Joy Robson also acknowledged accepting a car, 10,000 payments from Jackson, and 10,000. It goes on and on. And the Patreons also know that Anthony Pellicano, look him up, I do a whole deep dive on him. He's actually like 6 degrees of separation from every celebrity. When he did his investigation to protect Michael Jackson and keep him out of jail, because he was the Hollywood cleaner, the original fixer, he was so mortified at what he found, he said he would never work with Michael Jackson ever again. He said he'd basically do it this one time, fix Michael Jackson's situation, and then he would never work with him again because he was so repulsed by what he found out. The video isn't about Michael Jackson, it's about the reunion, so let's get back to it. So Crystal goes on and spills some tea. She says that she wasn't purging in her bedroom when Sutton Strack came in suddenly with her jacket, and she said she felt violated. She explains that the reason she felt that way wasn't because she was purging and embarrassed, but because she hates her body, and that's part of her eating disorder, and so that's why she felt violated when Sutton saw her almost naked, I guess. There's a scene where Andy asked Diana Jenkins about her giving to Erika Jayne Girardi's husband's victims in a fund. He says, did you make the donation? And Diana says, like, absolutely, really strong, yes. It seems like Andy Cohen wants to ask a second question, follow-up question when you watch the show. I believe what he was saying, whether they edited it out or he wanted to ask it and he didn't, but I think what he was going to ask is, isn't that charity that you gave to your charity? And so is that really giving to the victims? And I think that was what he wanted to ask, but he didn't for whatever reason. Maybe Diana Jenkins set guidelines down as to why she wasn't, what she was willing to do or not. She did not seem to have any symptoms of COVID, which was the reason she zoomed in, which all that was weird. Yes, people do have COVID with no symptoms, so it could be as simple as that, but definitely the fans commented on that. What was I going to say? Diana Jenkins gave the donation money to her own charity. The charity that she started was started a few weeks before the episode aired. Not shot, aired on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, where she says she's going to give a donation. The timing of that is interesting, as you can imagine. I won't tell you why. You can figure that out on your own. But anyway, she ends up giving money to a charity that she controls and sets up to, I guess, do stuff for the victims as she figures out what that is. But to be clear, all we're aware of at this point in time is that she gave money to a charity organization she set up. Here's Diana's charity for Erika Jayne Girardi's foundation, the Sunella Foundation. It's obviously named after her because it's her charity. And you'll notice the status date and the filing date, 8/18/2022, August 22nd, 2022. And this was only like a week or two after that episode aired. Garcelle makes it clear to me anyway that she doesn't want to talk or shoot with Diana Jenkins. To me, Garcelle gave me the energy that she does believe that Diana Jenkins is a racist. I'm going to show you an article that also might have given her that impression. This is from the Daily Mail. This was directly taken out of a lawsuit. I think I posted it in the Patreon that is available online publicly, that basically says that Diana Jenkins tried to use a tactic of intimidation to a gardener using, racist weaknesses, which would maybe play into Garcelle's belief that Diana was trying to attack her only Achilles heel, which is her kids, to get her off the show. It says when Coombs, that was her neighbor, Diana Jenkins' Malibu mansion neighbor, when Coombs' security guard intervened and asked the gardeners to stop, Jenkins, the ex-wife of famed British financier Roger Big Dog Jenkins, oh, how cheesy, who was at one time ranked among the world's highest paid bankers, engaged in aggressive, racially prejudiced Karen-type against the African-American man, the suit claims. You know who Jan Koum is. He's no joker. Jan Koum is the founder of WhatsApp. He's a billionaire, and he's also from the Ukraine. He's an American Ukrainian. Hope that gave you some insight in some things that maybe Garcelle saw outside of just her straight interaction with Diana on the show. It probably didn't help also that Diana Jenkins tends not to communicate in any way but through lawyers. She couldn't be too afraid of her life because she's at BravoCon right now doing meet and greets, so I don't think that she's really worried about it. Maybe she has 17 bodyguards around her, I don't know. But usually when you're afraid for your life, as she says she was, at the same time that Garcelle was being attacked by these bots, you would generally not want to go to a fan event, right? That you're saying the fans are bad or whatever. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. It's just also annoying. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. And watch my Real Housewives of Salt Lake City recap if you want me to keep doing them. I really like that topic because, like I said, these women are juicy. It's boring if they're all perfect. Who cares? We have enough perfection. Is there really any perfection?